which we're pleased about, with New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and Villanova all making the field. As usual on these calls, if you've got questions for the coaches here this morning, just use the chat feature or the raise your hand icon, and we'll work those questions in. We begin this morning with the head coach at UNH, Rick Santos. Good morning, Rick.
Morning, Rob.
Congratulations to you and you guys, first of all. What a remarkable run from being 3-4 to being in the playoffs. Just talk about the excitement on campus yesterday when you saw your name come on the screen.
Just pure joy, elation. A lot of nerves going into it, to be honest, being on the second side of the bracket. So we were probably in there for 20 or 30 minutes before our name got called. So we saw North Dakota get in with 5 losses and didn't know if that put us squarely on the bubble. And I think we ended up being the last team in. So just really happy for the young men, for them to have this opportunity. I think the mental toughness to resolve, their ability to stick with it through a lot of hardships and ups and downs this year, and we've grown immensely. And I think that's where I'm the most proud of these guys. Of our youth and our inexperience showed through in the first half of the year, and they never made it about anything except getting better. They had a ton of accountability. They continue to work. They continue to trust in myself, the coaches, prepared the right way and ultimately get rewarded for playing their best ball of late and find a way to get 5 in a row. So just can't be more excited of what they were able to accomplish.
Question for you this morning from Roger. Good morning, Roger.
Hey, Rob. Hi, Rick. How are you?
Doing good, Roger.
Yeah.
Could you just kind of elaborate a little bit more what your feelings were like during the selection show? Or was it kind of a roller coaster as you saw the teams go up on the board, number one? And I'm wondering if there was a point in the season where, you mentioned after Saturday's game, the team really matured. Was there a point in the season where you really gained some added confidence in this group where you said, things are starting to click and maybe you even saw a strong finish like this potentially happening?
Yeah, I think to the first part, just a little bit of relief, to be honest with you, and not relief like the job's finished by any stretch of the imagination, but just it's always been our programmatic goals here. I say at the beginning part of every single year when we do the media zooms and the calls and everything, and that's the standard of excellence we've set here for a long period of time, and been really fortunate where kind of our class was a huge part of starting, that streak that at one point was 14 straight years, and now it's whatever the heck it is, 17 out of 23. So um, each and every day, that's all I think about is giving these guys an opportunity to compete for a national championship. It's the last programmatic goal that we've never obtained here, and you can't do that obviously unless you get into the dance. So just really happy, filled with joy, truly grateful that I get to be a part of this and on the journey with these guys. It's just tremendous young men in this program. They do it for the right reasons. They love one another. They care. Really happy for the coaching staff as well. 2 new coordinators this year, 4 position coaches. That's the first time they've ever had their own room. So to see the maturation, the growth of our staff working together, figuring out our continuity, all the ups and downs, and yeah, we've stuck together as a group and as a team. So just really, really happy for everybody involved. And then I think it was probably the William and Mary game going into that one, and we knew how talented that program is and the history of success that they have. So for us to play as well as we did in that second half and to close them out certainly gave us a lot of confidence. And then ultimately it was probably the second half in Monmouth where I felt like we had an opportunity to be a playoff caliber team. If we could play a full game like we did those 30 minutes in the second half of New Jersey, it showed us that we're more than capable to get it done.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Rick, to conclude that winning streak, I don't want to get too far into this without mentioning Saturday. Always a big deal to retain the musket, a hard-fought game as you knew it would be going in. How much momentum does that game and the excitement of winning a rivalry game like that provide as you head into this week?
Oh, it's always such a highly touted contest. It's physical. I got to give a ton of credit to Jordan, his staff. They outcoached us a little bit at halftime, and they made some adjustments in the second half. And some really innovative schemes, in particular with the plus one stuff and the quarterback run that they hadn't shown out of certain formations. And defensively, they did a really good job of bending but not breaking. And we got inside the 10-yard line and they gave us fits and couldn't get the ball in the end zone as much as we wanted. So really, really happy we were able to get that done. Ultimately, when it mattered the most, we were able to get a nice long touchdown drive to seal it. I thought defensively, they played well at times, and at times we probably won a couple drives back. But I think that's what that whole game was. And at the end of the day, it's you just got to find a way against Maine each and every year. Throw the records out. There's going to be playoff implications on one side or the other historically in that game, and we know the pressure is as high as you're going to have it being the last game of the year. So we were able to stay poised, stay confident, and make those plays in the defining moments with the season on the line.
You talked to Roger a little bit about it and how this team improved here down the stretch, but it seemed to me like you got better in all phases of the game. I mean, your offense, the running game improved, and Matt certainly has matured as the years gone along. Your defense has been among the best in the league over this last 5-6 weeks. And then we've talked 100 times about the contributions Nick Reed's giving you in the kicking game. So have you seen the same thing where it's been kind of an all-in type effort where you've improved in all phases?
I agree. I think when you look at it, probably where you're most happy as a coaching staff and how those guys were able to develop their rooms is, the lack of production we had coming back. We felt like we had some really talented football players, but they haven't had the platform or the forum to go show that and to go play. And, to have zero all conference guys, to go one guy that was an honorable mention to end up where we're at right now. I think it's a testament to the staff and how well they've got their guys prepared. And it's really the players just buying into our process. And you're 3-4 after 7 weeks, and we challenge them that usually later in the year you get a little bit less physical because you need to make sure that you can keep them healthy and go on. And we just weren't there as a program. We just were making silly mistakes in the games. Didn't feel like we were motivating the guys well enough as coaches. So we went the opposite manner, and there was more physical, it was longer practices. We did a lot more ones versus ones and ramped it up. And they embraced that. And it could have been a fracture point in the season. But they really, really believed in what we asked them to do and continue to get better and better and better. And now here we are.
Obviously, last year's playoff game didn't go the way you would have liked. How much does the experience from that situation benefit you as you go into this year?
Well, I mean, the hard truth is there's not a lot of guys in this roster currently that played in that game.
Mm-hmm.
There's a decent amount that were there and saw it. And I think when you get one of 24, it's the physicality of the teams that you're going to face, in particular the team we're facing this week in the front seven and what they have on both sides. So, it's going to take physical and mental toughness, and I think obviously you got to make plays, you got to be explosives, and you got to wreak havoc on defense and all those things. But I think it's just weathering the physicality early in those games is going to be huge for us. And yeah, it's just an incredible opportunity to go against a team as highly touted as South Dakota State is.
Yeah, let's talk about them a little bit. Obviously, a blue blood program in the world of FCS. Tough atmosphere there on the road as well. A very spirited fan base there. Just talk about the experience of going up against South Dakota State, and then maybe the challenges they provide both for you on offense and defense.
I mean, round one, they throw it right at you, right? So if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And I was kind of writing up some stats on them earlier. 15 playoff appearances in 09, I think 14 in a row, 5 MVC championships in 16. And right now that's the best conference in the country. 2 national championships since 2020, and they've been to 3, and they've been to the semi 6 out of 7 years. So that team knows how to win. They're extremely well coached. They're physical. Defensively, I think their front seven is going to be as stout as anybody we've seen, probably other than Rhode Island this year. So, they set edges hard. They tackle extremely well. And then on the offensive side of the ball is, trying to figure out who's going to be playing quarterback for them. Their starting QB was out for the last month. I think he's slated to potentially be back. So he's a really good player. He can throw it all over. They got about 5 or 6 tight ends that seem to be 6'5", 250 plus, and a big offensive lineman that like to run and control the clock. So I think this is a complete football team. We gotta put our big boy pants on this week and go out there and match that physicality.
What will be the keys for your team to have success? If you could hit on one or two things that you think are keys for your team to get a win on Saturday.
Yeah, I think we got to be opportunistic, on offense when we take our shots, find a way to get explosives in the air. We got to be efficient, how well they are in terms of their run defense and their run grades with their defensive unit. For us, we got to be efficient in that and hold on to the ball and get us into third and manageable. I think it's got to be a key for us. One of the goals this year was to be tops in the conference in time possession, and we were number one. And to do that, we want to play complementary football. We need to continue to be more explosive on offense, but what we have done is not allow the defense to be on the field too much. So I think that's the key there is hold on to the ball, be really good situationally on third down and get into the red zone. You got to score touchdowns. And defensively, the message all week is we have to wreak havoc. We got to create a couple turnovers. They're going to make their plays. They have elite length on the perimeter in terms of receivers, big tight ends, great running backs. Just a world-class team that they have. So we need to make sure that we can get the ball out. We got to tackle extremely well. And then again, you gotta be physical in games like this.
All right, Rick. Thanks so much for your time here this morning. Safe travels out to South Dakota, and congratulations